Welcome from Minnesota Election Integrity Solutions, Jonathon Aanestad.
Where's the microphone? There you go. Well, how you guys doing out there? Everybody having fun? Yeah, this is quite the little rally. It's really good. I love all the signs out there. So, hello to all you patriots. Patriots, right? Everybody, give me a hand if you're patriots. You know, thanks for showing up, because you know what? Only the people that show up get to make motions and get to decide things. And so you guys are here, and I know you're active. Your involvement in our election system will make a difference, whether it's a poll challenger, election judge, on the ballot boards, or as a voter. Many of you are concerned about the election system here in Minnesota. And I want to know how many trust our election system in Minnesota? Raise your hand. God, I don't see one hand. Really? Come on. But you are not alone. A Real Clear Politics poll found that 62% of Americans are concerned or very concerned about the state of elections in our country. 62% of us. I mean, that's a stunning statistic, that people are that concerned about the election system. And of course, Donald Trump really brought that out in 2020, as we all know. My name is Jonathon Aanestad. I'm the co-chair of MinnesotaElectionIntegrity.org. We are organized as a 501c3 nonprofit dedicated to all aspects of election operations here in Minnesota. I've been involved in elections going back to the disastrous Coleman-Franken recount in 2008. How many of you remember that debacle? Boy, I know. That's a tough one. That got us Obamacare, by the way, just so you know, because we lost that seat in the Senate. Okay, I sat at a recount table on Thanksgiving weekend, and for 2 more weeks at now the most famous election warehouse in Minneapolis. We had no idea what we were doing because we'd never done a recount before in the state of Minnesota. Then, go back to 2010, I was a team leader at Hennepin County Recount at the Government Center downtown Minneapolis for the Emmer-Dayton recount. How many remember that one? That was also not spectacular. Who remembers the voter ID amendment that was going to be in the Minnesota Constitution in 2012? Anybody remember that? Yep, and that failed also. I worked on that. I was one of the attorneys that worked on that with several other people, and it's unbelievable how we didn't get that passed. This state would be a different place if we'd have gotten voter ID as part of our Constitution. How many think that we should have voter ID? Yeah. It's amazing. You go to a polling place, and you know, I just always show my license just to kind of stick it to the man. And they go, oh, no, you don't need that. I mean, you need your driver's license for everything else in the world except voting. It's stunning to me. Here's another fact. 56% of likely U.S. voters believe that every state should make paper ballots available immediately after the election for bipartisan voter reviews to enhance election confidence and transparency. We have been an advocate of this for 4 years. And you know why? Because the post-election reviews, which they call the PERs, it's not adequate at all. It's a hoax. It is not a true check against the election system. This is just one of the many projects we have worked on at MinnesotaElectionIntegrity.org. We have 7 subcommittees working on all aspects of election integrity here in Minnesota. And we work as a watchdog regarding our Secretary of State, Steve Simon. We keep him in line. We've already done 2 lawsuits. And we make sure that we try to manage the Minnesota election system from afar. We're not real visible, which is why many of you might not be aware of us, but behind the scenes, we're doing a lot of stuff. We get press once in a while, but quite frankly, we work behind the scenes. It's much easier to get things done. But I will put a little plug out. We're always looking for volunteers, and we're always looking for donations. We have a table in the back over by the tent there if you have any more interest in other information. Here are subcommittees that if you were interested, you could work on. They are forensics and data analysis, election engagement, legislative action, election law and procedures. We have a PR and a newsroom, and we have no to ranked choice voting. No to ranked choice voting. I hope I get a hand on that one. Okay. We've been down at the Capitol testifying the whole time during the ranked choice voting mess that they're trying to get through. And we also have a newsletter. We have a table under the tent, as I mentioned. Again, our website is minnesotaelectionintegrity.org. Please go to our website. We have a myriad of tons of information on there. And now I want to introduce Greg Buck. He's another co-chair of our committee. So thank you very much and have a good day.
Well, hello, everybody. Say, I know this rally is more than just about election integrity, but today I want to lead us all in giving some thanks for the patriots who have kept the flame burning, not just for the last 4 years, but for a decade or more. We have some rock stars who have been at work here in Minnesota. People like Andy Selick, Eric Cardle, James Dickey, Matt Benda, Rick Weibel, Susan Sjogren-Smith, Eric Van Mechelen, just a number of people, and behind them are a whole host of other people across the state. These are unnamed patriots. And they have all been relentlessly pursuing truth, asking simple questions, common sense questions, analyzing laws, rules, and regulations to better understand our election systems and election processes, unpacking complex technology, and getting people engaged and voting. They have been, as Eric Cardle would say, toiling away in the vineyards to make government better, more transparent, and more responsible to all of us, because you know what, you guys, we own this enterprise. They've toiled, and it is, I'll tell you, it's not been for fame or glory, and it sure as hell hasn't been for the money. And for years, we've all been called election deniers, harassed, censored, ridiculed, but the defects of the election systems, and they are legion, are being exposed. And our next mission, beyond this one, is to demand that the systems that allow the cheating and the cover-up of cheating get fixed. The tide's clearly turning. We're winning the fight to shine light on the election laws and systems. So I'd like to have you all give a round of applause to all of the people throughout the state that have been working on election integrity and this fight for truth. Now I'd like to leave you with a story from our history. You're all familiar with one of the founders, John Adams, second president of the United States. John Adams loved the truth. So much so, in fact, that he defended the British soldiers involved in the Boston Massacre. Not a popular thing to do. Adams also hated slavery. He fought against it. But he also instilled the truth that all men are created equal in his son, John Quincy. John Quincy Adams, of course, was the 6th president of the United States. And the only president, and he was a single-term president, and the only president to ever return back to the legislature after he served as president. He served in the House from Massachusetts for 18 years after his presidency, and he carried his family fervor for abolishing slavery in the House all that time. And he continued to push for it until his death in 1838. In his last term before he died, John Quincy Adams made a deep impression on one young first-term congressman. He passed on his passion to abolish slavery to that young congressman. Now, it turns out that young congressman was a one-termer. He lost his bid for re-election, packed his bags, and went back to Illinois, where he couldn't get elected dog catcher until he became the 16th president of the United States. And yes, it was Abraham Lincoln who finally got slavery abolished in America. Now back to Quincy and the Adams family. For at least 2 generations, the Adams fought against slavery. In Quincy's last 18 years, he initiated debates, proposed bills, which went nowhere. One of his colleagues asked him why he continued to waste his time on this slavery issue, because it was going nowhere. It was a loser. Now here was John Quincy Adams' reply. He said, "My friend, duty is ours. The result is God's." So let us keep those words in mind as we continue to fight for truth and better government. Ultimate victory may not come in our lifetimes, but it is our duty to work out our call, trusting that God's plan, the result that Quincy talked about, will come on his time, not necessarily on ours. So thank you. God bless America, and God help Minnesota.